Hello, Namaskar, and a very good evening to all the viewers watching our session out there. This is Simran Singh, and you are watching this particular session on PM eVidya, channel number 6 to 12. Besides, we have different mediums through which you can connect with us, and one of them is our YouTube channel. As you all know, it is NCRE Official. So it's around 4 p.m. on your watch, and from 4 till 5 p.m. from Monday to Fridays, we have our special sessions for all our viewers. Once again, I welcome all our viewers in this 5 days online training running on virtual labs for teaching, learning and assessment. So you all know that today is the concluding day for our 5 days online training program, where we are going to discuss about exploring virtual labs for languages. As we all know that virtual labs, virtual experiments, laboratory understanding is very important for a child in the life, because it also enhances our classroom experiences. At the same time, it provides us more and more practical knowledge and hands-on experience on our real life equipments, be it science, languages, chemistry or all the other and diverse fields associated with your subjects, with your studies. So we have today's session for all our viewers. Let's get back to the talking about what we have discussed so far in our 5 days online training session. So the first session, we provided you all the information regarding virtual labs, the policy perspectives, the need and the scope. Then after that, we continued the sessions for the types and exemplars associated with virtual labs, and also about exploring virtual labs for sciences, mathematics, and today we are going to have it for languages. As you all know that after our training program, we also have a post-session activity for all our viewers, and you keep on asking us about what is the post-session activity, when are we going to release the link for all of you. So today the important information that you need to know is a post-session activity regarding the quiz, and all you have to know and do is the web page of CIT NCERT. So once again, let's have a look at our web page that we have been displaying for the past 4 days for all our viewers. So it's very simple. Once you type www.ciet.nic.in on Google, and you'll be able to see this first tab, that is Central Institute of Educational Technology. Once you click on over here, this is the home page where you'll land upon, and here are different options mentioned for all of you. So for our training sessions and the information associated with that, everything has been uploaded under events, workshop and training. So you will land on this page where you'll get all the necessary details regarding our online training sessions. So there are 3 kind of activities where you can access the different links of the upcoming activity, the current activity, on all the completed activities or the training sessions that we have conducted for you. So for this particular training session that have been running from 26th of September till 30th September, that is today, here you can see its program that is titled as Virtual Labs for Teaching, Learning and Assessment. So once you click on this, just scroll it a bit down. All the details regarding our 5 days training session, here is the banner, here are the objectives, all those who can be a part of our training sessions. Now you keep on asking this common question to us repeatedly, like who all can participate in our quiz. So whether it's the students, teachers, teacher educators, parents, administrators, even the general public, you all can be a part of our quiz sessions. And we are conducting these sessions with a motive to enhance the availability and functioning of virtual lab resources in order to enrich the classroom experiences. Also to practice the lab resources and enhance their pedagogical resources, and helping in the learning basic and advanced concepts through different experiments. So over here, it's a program schedule right from day 1. If you have missed any of our sessions, then you don't have to worry. Here are the links of our sessions that have been uploaded for you. Also, you can watch all the videos on our YouTube channel, that is NCRE Official. Now, let's get to know more about the post-session activity. So here are certain steps laid down for all of you through which you can access or be a part of our quiz sessions. So how to participate? There are certain steps. The step number 1 says registration. So you can register yourself by clicking on the link, that is the blue accessible link right in front of your screens, or even scanning the QR code that is present over here. Second thing is watch our live training sessions. So you all want to know that from where we do form our quiz questions. So it basically comes from the different areas that we discuss in our training sessions. So if you see all our training sessions right from the beginning till end, then I'm pretty sure you'll be able to answer all the quiz questions. So here are the different mediums through which you can connect with us. Then if you scroll a bit down, the step number 3 says that it's a participation in post-session activity, and also if you score over 70%, then you are eligible to receive a certificate from CIET NCERT. Then the link is not uploaded yet, but till 6 p.m. today, We'll be uploading the link and you all can access it. The opening date is 30th September 2022 at 6 p.m. right after our session ends, and the closing date, that is you have to send your and submit your entries to us by October 23rd, 2022 at 6 p.m. And also this must be taken into account that in case if you don't receive your certificate within 30 days of taking the post session quiz, so do check your spam mail if not found in the inbox. Then you all know that your feedback matters a lot to us. So here is a Google form again. You click on it, you share your feedback, and in terms of any queries, here is a mail desk help ID that is flashing on your screens. It is training.helpdesk@ciet.nic.in, and also toll-free contact number is displaying on your screen right now. It is 8800440559. And also in the later segment of this session, we are going to talk about the post-session activity. We are going to take your queries. But as of now, let's begin today's training session, that is on exploring virtual labs for languages. And to address our viewers more on this topic, we are also joined by our esteemed panelists in the conversation. So allow me to introduce them with them. In the conversation, we have with us in the studio Ms. Priyakshi Gupta ji. Namaskar, ma'am. A very warm welcome in the session. She is currently serving as Senior Academic Consultant at CIET NCRT. And I am also delighted to inform you that we have a guest with us from CDAC, Mumbai. So ma'am, would you do the honors to introduce our guest with all our viewers?
Thank you. Sure. So namaskar to all. We have with us an expert from CDAC Mumbai, Dr. Shashikumar M. Welcome to our session, sir. Dr. Shashikumar M is currently the director of CDAC Mumbai. He has been with CDAC since 1987 after completing his BTech from IIT Madras. He completed his post-graduation from IISc Bangalore and doctorate from BITS Pilani. His areas of interest include artificial intelligence and educational technology. He has initiated and nurtured a number of projects in the area of AI and e-learning during his career. Today, Sir is going to give you an overview of the purpose, features, challenges, and implementation of various resources available on virtual labs for languages. To begin with, our viewers would like to know about the main objective of developing virtual labs for languages. Over to you, sir.
So we request you to please unmute yourself.
Yes. I hope I am audible and visible and my slide is visible and all that.
Of course, sir. Of course.
Very good afternoon to all those who are tuned in to listen to this final session on the virtual labs.
Shashi sir, we have lost your audio. We are still not able to hear you. If I am clearly audible to you, please respond back. So I think, sir, there is a minor technical glitch from your end. I'll request you to please once
looking
again.
At lab as an affordance for language learning, because language lab, I think for many people have different interpretations. So we will try to explain what is it that we are looking at. And why aren't we seeing so many of these labs already in place and the associated challenges with it, and then we'll walk you through some of the labs that we have created for language lab and tell you what is in store for us also. And that's the broad plan for us. And now in response to the question, everybody knows what a physics lab is or what a chemistry lab is. You walk into a physics lab, you have all these apparatuses there, the springs and balance and stands on which you suspend the spring, put weights, you take measurements and prove various laws, Hooke's law, find focal length of mirror and so on. And chemistry lab, similarly, even biology lab where you might dissect some animals and things like that. But what does a language lab what does the language lab mean? So there is no experiment that you perform in a language lab. But what is also important and what every language teacher realizes is that language learning involves a huge amount of practice. So, typically language teachers will ask you to write, sentences, words and propositions, adjectives and etc. Create sentences, practice, practice, practice. That is what is the mantra for learning language well. But it cannot be random practice. You need guided practice. You need proper feedback on when you are doing the practice. And so prompt constructive feedback is essential when you try something out, whether you're doing the right thing, whether that can be improved and things like that. You need proper feedback. So we conceptualize Language Lab as a place where you can do this. You can come in, you can perform various kinds of learning activities with typical constructs that is used in language. And after we'll discuss more about that later. So Language Lab is a way where we can practice language learning activities in a very adequate depth and breadth in terms of large number of examples, and you get feedback on everything on the spot, giving you opportunity to correct and practice more till you are thorough with it. And one of the requirements for this is that you must have a large enough repository. So if you go with 3 sentences and ask you to practice, after a while you would remember all these 3 sentences, and then your practice becomes very monotonous or boring. So you need to have a large repository so you can create lots of varieties of practice instruments, which we will come back to later on. So the idea of a language lab is a place where you can practice common constructs. I will tell you more about it later on. And these constructs you can practice with adequate feedback. So that's what we are going to talk about today, ma'am.
That's true. It is very important for language teachers to ensure language competency.
Not audible, ma'am?
Among students. Our viewers would like to know how language labs...
You're not audible.
That's true, sir. It is very important for language teachers to ensure language competency among students. Our viewers would like to know how Language Lab helps in improving the students' 4 different language skills.
So in this session there might be a technical glitch that we are facing as of now, and we are trying to fix that. Yeah. So it's a 5 days online training session.
Or wait.
Yes, sir. I hope now the audio is quite clear to you. Alright, so it's a 5 days online training session. As you all know that it is titled as Exploring Virtual Labs for Languages. In the conversation we have with us Dr. Shashikumar M. Sir. He is serving as Executive Director from CDAC Mumbai.
Still a lot of echo is coming.
Yeah, we are still trying to fix that. I regret the inconvenience that has been caused to all our viewers. But I will also like to state that these training sessions are important for all our viewers to understand. As you know that laboratory experiences are very important in the life of a child, because if you don't have ample resources to access the physical laboratories, be in your classrooms or outside, then virtual labs give you that one opportunity to try and understand the different concepts, whether it's the subjects that we are talking about, it's science, it's languages, that is the conversation we have in for today, and the different exemplars, or whether it's mathematics. So it gives us a lot of opportunities to try and understand these diverse fields. So you all know that after these sessions we also have a post-session activity for all of you, as it's the 5th and the concluding day of our session. So you all can access the quiz link and it will be uploaded just once we conclude this session for all our viewers. So if you try and watching all our sessions, you'll be able to answer all the quiz links, and all these sessions are live on NCERT Official. That is our YouTube channel, and also these sessions you can watch on PM eVidya channel number 6 to 12. So we started out these training programs on 26th of September, and today is the 30th September. That is our concluding day for this particular section. So if you have any queries, any feedback, any messages for us, which is immensely important for us to have your queries and messages. So do feel free to write down to us in the comment section of NCRT Official, that is our YouTube channel. Besides, we have different mediums through which you can connect with us. And you all know that one of them is our toll-free contact number, that is 8800-440-559. And Dr. Shashi sir, I hope I am clearly audible to you.
Yes, now it is clear.
Yeah, sir. You may continue with the conversation, and I regret the technical glitch that has been just caused in the session.
No.
Yeah, please continue, sir.
So sir,
as the question prompted, what does language learning actually involve? So if you look at your experience with from the school days, there are 4 different activities that is usually emphasized for learning a language, right? So you do a lot of reading, you do speaking, you do writing, and you do listening. So 2 of these are kind of input activities, and 2 of it is where you are generating language. The writing and speaking, you actually generate a language output, and in listening and reading, you consume what others are producing. So in all these 4 skills, we will need to build up adequate competence for us to say that you are learning a language well. So effective instruction requires attention to all these 4 aspects. And often, we focus on one or the other depending on the class, the level, and so on. So, in reading, what are the things that you want to look at? One of the objectives of reading is to help familiarize with constructs and usages. So, at the lower classes, you read words, you read sentences, you try to understand how sentences are formed with words, the different kinds of sentences. And as you go to higher classes, you read lessons, you read stories, you read poems, and you understand how words are used and when the kind of words are used, what is the impact of using the right kind of words, and so on. These are things that you internalize by doing a lot of reading. It is also used to improve vocabulary. So people say that you read more, you learn more words, you learn more styles, you learn more the best ways of communicating ideas that you have. And we also test whether you are reading it properly, whether you are understanding what is being read by doing comprehension. Right, so we may ask you questions based on the paragraph that you read, which is typically what lessons in your English textbook does. So there is a material that you read, and then somebody asks you a question, you are asked to critique something that has happened there, you are asked to explain some behavior that is there. So these are all mechanisms to improve comprehension. So that's a key component of language learning, which goes under the heading of reading. And on the other side, the opposite of reading is writing, where in order to write well, you need to have a very good grasp of grammar, and for languages like English, spelling is very important. For Indian languages, we write what we speak and we read what is written. So spelling is usually not that much of a challenge. For other languages it could be. But anyway, grammar and how words are formed are important. So if I get the root word, do you know how to make the different cases, dative case, and different forms of that word for verb forms? So these are all things that is exercised when you actually do writing activities. And you deploy the vocabulary that you have, and you also analyze how and when to use these words when you are actually doing the writing. So a good writing versus a bad writing is basically distinguished between by not only having a proper English grammar of whatever is written, but using the right words and for the right effect at the right time. Right? So vocabulary also gets duly emphasized, and you get a lot of practice on mapping ideas to words and then sentences. So I have something I want to communicate, and writing is when I want to convert that into standard accepted format in whatever language that you are doing the writing. So usually, and not very surprisingly, a lot of energy in language learning is spent on the writing aspect. So you have a huge number of lessons on different aspects of grammar or spelling and sentence constructs and things like that, and also vocabulary, a lot of writing practices, compositions, and story writing, story completion, and all that. But that the idea is to say that that is one of the 4 pillars, and you will also need to look at these other pillars. Speaking is important because a lot of communication actually happens not by written text, by orally, like when you are listening to me and I'm speaking to you on about language labs. So there it is important to have the right pronunciation of words, the right intonation in sentences, an exclamatory sentences or a declarative sentence or questions of interrogative sentences are not spoken the same way. You don't actually just read the words, you bring in intonation depending on the mood of the sentence, right? So this is also something that you want to practice. And also slowly you move to impromptu sentence formation. So on the spot you create sentences to communicate what is required. So this is the speaking component, and again the opposite of that is listening. So you listen to, again all of you are listening to what I am saying and try to understand what is being communicated, what does it mean for me from a language learning point of view, right? So
Yes, Shashi sir.
one to a word, you don't do the yeah. Yes.
Yes, sir, it's audible. Please continue.
Okay. So you listen to the word and the sound of the word and try to decode what is the corresponding written form or the word, what the word is. So decoding pronunciation to identify the word and comprehension from oral input. Now listening is also important because spoken sentences are usually not fully grammatically correct, proper beginning and ending sentences, because your ideas come in between, you divert from one sentence, you have fragments coming in. So this is also a practice. So a good language lab activity need to ensure that all these 4 aspects are attended to. Now, with these 4 basic primitives, you have a lot of other things that you need to be done for professionally using language or for actually using language for communication. How do I compose, a construct, like composing a letter, composing an essay, composing an article? How do I review a writing that is given to me? So when I review a poem or an article that is written by others, the speeches, I want to be able to listen or to deliver speeches. How do I organize ideas in a way that the listeners are able to connect with it? So these are the higher level constructs which on top of the grammar, which is kind of more or less independent of the language that you learn. English composition and Hindi composition and Sanskrit composition, as composition stands more or less similar concepts, right? So above the language constructs are these ideas which actually is very important for making you a good user and of the language.
That's great, sir.
So yeah, so these are the things that we would need to look at under language. Yeah, over to you.
So currently, how many language lab activities are available, and can you also share the topics that are being covered in the language labs?
Yeah, so we started language labs along with the other subjects lab that you did, but it was a new area to explore. So we started building some proof of concept, some basic labs. So we have currently 12 labs, which are mostly on the W aspect that I mentioned earlier, that is the writing aspects. So we are focusing on grammar in terms of prepositions or voice conversion, tense, and things like that. And we are now moving on to exploring pronunciations and speech and other aspects which you can expect to see in the days to come under the language umbrella. And further, all these labs that we have implemented are for English language. We are now also trying to adapt and then create additional labs for Indian languages, such as Hindi and other languages. And the current list of languages that we have are learning propositions of location. So where to use above, below, at, on, and those kind of things you learn by activity in this lab. Correction and omission activity, where you learn about words being omitted or some wrong words being used, and activities like that. Learning propositional direction, passive voice to active voice to passive voice, tense conversion, improving comprehension skills, direct to indirect speech, reported speech, and so on. So I will be demonstrating some of these things later on in the session, and this is what we have at the moment.
Wow, that means diverse resources are available for the students to master the grammatical accuracy. Sir, could you please demonstrate simulations of certain concepts to make it easy for our users to practice them on their own, anywhere, anytime?
Yes, I will. I will actually take you to a demo of some of these activities, and okay.
And yes, viewers, in the conversation, we still have around 25 minutes left. So if you have any of the queries, any questions from our experts, from the panelists, and it is most welcomed in the comment section of NCRE Official. As I could see just in the comment section that there are a number of viewers who have connected with us. First of all, thanks a lot for being a part of this conversation. Thank you for sharing your valuable messages, and also do drop down your queries regarding any subject, regarding virtual labs, regarding the different areas that you would like us to bring through this platform. Today in this conversation, we are talking about exploring virtual labs for languages, and sir is demonstrating it for our viewers. Yeah, sir.
Okay, so as I said, there are a number of labs. If you go to the OLabs homepage, which what you can see here under olabs.edu.in, and these are also available under the Diksha portal. And go to the English tab, and you can see these labs lined out here. These are not mapped to classes because you can actually practice them based on what is your interest and not necessarily tied to a particular class topic. So let's look at about learning propositions of, how to use propositions of location. I'm actually directly going to the lab activity. So what happens here, these are some instructions which I'm going to skip in the interest of time. And so here, I'm going to start the lab. So what happens is a room or an environment is actually given to me, and there is a ball which I can drag, and I will get in some instructions asking me to put the ball in some particular place, right? And so here it is, it says place the ball between the family portrait and the clock. So somewhere here I will need to put it. So I drag the ball and I put it here, and I will say congratulations, your answer is correct, right? So if, next one I'm going to do some wrong moves, so you understand what happens there. So it says put the ball on the table, right? So I don't understand that, so I actually maybe put it under the table. So it says, so sorry, this is not the correct position. The ball is below the table, right? So you understand the difference between on and below. So I have to go and maybe I now understood it, so I'm going to put it on the table, and it says your answer is correct. So you practice this till you get, you understand these propositions correctly. Now this time it says put the ball below the table, okay, and I will actually put it, maybe let me put it on the sofa. So again you see that it says that the ball is on the sofa. So it has detected that I have done a wrong move, and it tells me what is the wrong move that I did, and asks me to, gives me an opportunity to correct that mistake. So this is what I mentioned, that you get feedback, continuous on-the-spot feedback, so that you can practice these without having to have a teacher around or somebody to help you. So let me leave this lab. Let me go to something else from there, which might be interest. So let's say one of the things that most people have problems with is voice conversion, where you do active voice to passive voice. So you can also see that in all this lab, there is a theory section, there is a procedure as an element, animation, wherever references and feedback, right? So it actually explains what is active voice, what is passive voice, how the conversion is done. All that theory is explained, which is basically textbook material that you would have studied in the class. So I'll go to the lab directly, and starting the lab. Okay, so here it is giving me activity by activity, right? It says convert active voice to passive voice. It has selected a tense which is simple present tense. Okay, so it is going to give me a sentence in simple present tense. You can see it here, Donna bakes a cake, right? And then it is asking me to convert this into passive voice. So I should say a cake is baked by Donna, right? So now if I don't know what these pieces are, so one of the things that we have done in this lab is avoid actual typing in, because maybe you use lowercase, uppercase, you have keyboard issues, and you put the wrong character, then we don't know whether that is intentional or something that's actually accidentally happened. So we have actually pulled all the relevant words to you, but they are jumbled up, right? So you have to organize these in the right order and say, I'm done. So I'm going to try something. So let's say a Donna is baked, let's say, by cake. Okay, I'm using the more or less the same order of the words. Obviously, this is not something that you want to happen. You don't want Donna to get baked by cake. But anyway, so you get the idea. So I'm going to submit this and say this is what my answer is. And it says subject is incorrectly placed, correct, because the Donna should actually become the object now, where I have retained it as subject, and object is incorrectly placed, which should have become subject. Okay, so it says okay, go ahead and correct it. So I will now go and say, a cake is baked by Donna, and then I say submit, and it says your answer is correct. So again, you can make mistakes, you can try all kinds of combinations that you think could be appropriate, and the system will patiently give you feedback, telling you what is wrong, what is right, so that you can actually keep correcting it. And you can try various things. You have a good repertoire of tenses here, continuous present tense. So for example, I can say continuous past tense. So now it is generating sentences like Joseph was baking the cookie. Right. So instead of a simple word, now you have a with the was were also added to it. I'll do this one also, and then we'll move on to another one. So now I know the mistake I did. So I'm saying Joseph was. Sorry, actually I have to say the cookie was being baked by Joseph. Okay, so I'm more or less correct, but I know I did a mistake with the though, but let me see what happens here. So it has got somehow, there is also a jumbling here because was being baked, this has come like that, right? So I'm going to put now baked here. So cookie was being baked by, the cookie was being baked by Joseph. And then I go and again I submit it. So you can keep trying, keep changing this. And at some point in time, it will also enable a show answer option. If you are completely lost, you are not able to get it right, after a few trials, it will enable you to see the answer directly. So if you are really not able to do, you can do that. So this one I did, and it says my answer is correct, so you can go to the next. So I'll do one more lab now, and then maybe subject to time, we'll come back and look at more activities. A similar lab is what happens with tense conversion. So this is also something people have a lot of confusion, that how do I convert from past perfect to future perfect, or past simple past to future perfect, and so on. So that's what this lab gives you a lot of practice with. So yeah, so a more or less similar lab. It is allowing me to choose which is the source tense I want and which is the target tense that I want to practice. So if the teacher has given it to you an assignment, you take according to that. If you are confused about certain combination, you can choose just that combination. So I want to go from past continuous tense to simple present tense, right? So the child was, so again, every time I change this, you can see it is actually coming up with a sentence which is appropriate to the tense that I selected. I'll tell a little more about these, how these sentences are coming up in later on. And again, in order to simplify typing and things like that, most of the information is provided, because when you do tense conversion, you know that only the verb is going to get changed, right? Neither the subject nor the object or any other part of the sentence need not get changed. So it is giving it to you prefixed. So you only have to pick up the child was drinking the milk. So let's say the child drank the milk. I put that there. I know this is wrong because it's supposed to be simple present. I have actually put past tense. So you would come back with an answer saying the wrong form of the verb is chosen, right? So I realized that maybe it is not wrong. It is not drank. and I should put drinks here. Okay, and then I do submit, and it says the verb is correct. Okay, so this is how these labs are structured. There are more labs that you can look at. If there is time, we'll come back and look at it, but you get an idea. So please practice this, and there is always feedback. There is also instructions available that in every lab, how to use the lab, what all things are going to happen. There is a theory and hints section also inside the lab itself that you can make use of. The hints section can be used if you are stuck and you want a little probing, but not that final answer. Right? So these interventions are also provided to you to do that. So yeah, over to you.
So that was quite an innovative and engaging way to grasp the concepts. So, sir, it would be great if you could enlighten us on how teachers can use Language Lab effectively to make teaching learning of languages a seamless process in a precise manner, sir. Over to you, sir.
Yes, let me just share go back to my slides. Okay, so this is where we were. I don't know why my note. Right. Okay. So yeah. So before I get to answering this question, I'll tell a little bit more about So as I said, we are continuously working on language labs. A lot more labs are going to come in multiple languages. So in a few days, you should see some Sanskrit labs like Sakya, Sabdaroop, Dhadurupani, Sarvanam, Sabdaroop and all that. Some Hindi labs and some more labs on English. So these are coming up in our list now. So these will be available to you. So here is an example of what one of the Sanskrit lab, which is to convert the word to plural form. So Nar, Gaje, Ubhavishadi. You will have to choose the appropriate form of the subject. All the forms are also given, so you don't have to scratch your head to figure out which one it is. And the verbs also, all the forms are available to you. Right? So you can choose the right forms, drag and drop them there. This is a screen, so I am not going to be able to do the activity. So here is one where, one of the core ideas in Sanskrit is those tables of verbs and nouns. So again, part of the table is given and you are required to fill in the remaining part of the table. Okay, so when you want to build these kind of labs, so as I said, you need speech labs, you need other activities other than write. So one of the challenges there is that to support speak and listen modes, you need good quality speech synthesis. So that was not available in Indian languages, particularly for a while. Slowly, we are beginning to see some of these solutions. So we will be bringing you good speech-based labs also. So you students can actually read, and the system can tell you, no, you are not pronouncing that word correctly, or you can actually ask the system to pronounce words and sentences. Right? So these are things that is coming up. And another challenge is, can you look at, let's say a letter that is written by a student and tell whether that is good or bad. So that's also a challenging problem because you need good quality grammar checkers, parsers and all that. So these are also one expects to happen over a period of time. So why some of the advanced topics you may not see it in virtual lab mode are because of these constraints. And so these are something that various people are working on these things. So expect some of these to get solved over a period. Now another problem I mentioned when I giving you a demo is that you need to have a good repository, good collection of sentences to do this lab. Right? So every time I was changing the word or say next, a new sentence was coming up. Where does it come from? If I preload a set of sentences, you may exhaust that collection very easily. So, and it will also limit the set of options that is available for practice, and feedbacks are also going to get predetermined. So, what is done in this set of labs that we are presenting to you is that we have actually used a template to generate sentences. So, like this is something that I am sure most of you are familiar with. Some person is going to some place, right? So you need some person part here and some place part here. So I can use it to say Srishti is going to school, Madhav is going to market, Rekha is going to temple, and all of these have the same structure. So if I use a template, I can just plug in different persons and different places, and I can able to generate lots of different sentences to the user. This is what OLAPS actually implements for the voice conversion, tense conversion. So even if you go through that lab 1 hour, 2 hour, you will still find new sentences coming to you. So it's very difficult to remember all the answers, which is exactly what we want. So this is one of the ideas that we have done, and therefore the users get a very wide range of sentences to try, and therefore the minimal chances of repetition. Also, feedback can be structured, right? So you will get feedbacks like this: subject is not agreeing with the verb in number. So when I look at your answer, I know what is the mistake that you are doing, because my template actually tells me what is the expected answers that is required and what wrong answers could happen, or auxiliary verb is not as per the given sentence and so on. So we are able to give very accurate feedback because of this mechanism, despite having a large collection of sentences to choose from. So this is one of the very important and interesting ideas for this lab, which makes these labs quite usable in practice. And I also mentioned that we avoid typing in words, because for most students, they are getting comfortable with the keyboard to make these words correctly typed is a challenge. And most of us grown-ups also have a problem, because you might mix the characters instead of T, you may press Y and so on, right? So we minimize the actual typing, and you actually use drag and drop options, or rearrange, or select from a pool. These are interventions that we use to reduce the typing problem. And correctness evaluation is also done by the system, so you get quick feedback on that. Now coming back to ma'am's question about how do you use. So we have some recommendations on how you can use these labs. I'm sure the teachers are very creative, and you come up with your own ways of how to make use of any device that you can get into your hand. But these are some recommendations. So one of these are that when you are actually explaining a concept in class, you can use this as a backdrop, right? So you can actually take a sentence and ask the student to fill in the correct values in the class, and then give feedback, explain it. So because we are having a very large repository of sentences because of the auto generation, it would be easier for you to explain different scenarios using the lab, right? So when explaining concepts in the class, you can use it to show demonstrations, to prompt students to guess an answer, give him feedback, and so you can do a lot of active learning strategies. You can do make the classes quite interactive. Consciously giving wrong answers can be used to show the error response and correction. So you can actually take an exercise, give a wrong answer like what I did in the demo, and then you can tell the students, see, this is what kind of errors that you get, and therefore they are prepared to fix these errors subsequently. And another way to look at is to assign homework. So you can tell the student, okay, now go and try 10 different sentences for this particular lab, and maybe bring a log of the sentences that you tried. If you want to they can write it hand, or in the new version of the OLAPS, which is the much larger repository of labs that we are talking about. I think we mentioned it in the first 1 or 2 sessions in the series. So a collection of about 700, 800 more labs are going to come, covering the classes 6 to 12. And so there is a lot of activities that is going to come, and a lot of additional support is also going to get built into the system, right? So one of the things that we are going to do is to be able to, for the teacher to be able to get the log of what a student has done. So you can actually pick up the log of the student and say which all sentences he tried, which exercises he tried, how many of them he got right, and these kind of responses can be obtained from the system itself. This is not available today, but that's something that you can look forward to access the student to log, to check the history, right? So you don't have to even ask the student to submit an assignment to you. You can actually go back to the system and check it out, right? But so you can assign practice sessions for homework using the same OLAPS. because OneApps is accessible in the school as well as at home, this is something that is very, very effective, because you at the same platform they can do in the class for homework and as well as for online practice, right? So you can encourage students to practice online till they reach a correctness level about 90%. So how do I ensure that my student is competent in a particular topic? Let them keep trying out practice online till they are able to get a score above 90% in correctness, right? So every block of 5 sentences you can see, and those who are doing too many mistakes, you can ask them to keep trying more till they get something. So this is the mastery learning idea. So these are all things that we can suggest that how you can make use of these labs to improve your language learning activities. So as I mentioned in the beginning, the key mantra is practice, and all these can actually be different avatars of how to do this practice using language labs. And as I said, logs can be used to check for if you want to do for internal evaluation and all that. Of course, these labs do not validate the users at the moment very seriously. So if any other student or somebody is actually helping the student to fill in the answers, that we will not know. Okay, so that's a risk that we will have to consider. Of course, if you are asking the student to do this in the class, that problem may not be there because it is directly under your supervision. But homework and other activities, this challenge may be there. Maybe something that we'll look at later on to address this. Yeah, so these are some of the modes in which we.
Of course, sir. I do think that it has turned out really productive for our viewers, as there are beautiful comments that are pouring in the comment section of NCERT Official. We would have loved to continue the conversation, but due to paucity of time, I'll have to thank you here itself, as we cannot continue the session due to time constraints. But I hope the session has turned out wonderful and amazing for all our viewers. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and your inputs.
Thank you. So here is the last slide, so you can actually get it from here. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. So once again, we are left by the last 2 minutes in this conversation. So viewers, let me quickly take you through our web page once again, where you can access the quiz links and get to know more about our quiz and the post-session activity and all the details. So our website, if you can note it down, it is www.ciet.nic.in. And if you have a look at this, you will be able to see that there are details mentioned about online training on virtual labs for teaching, learning and assessment. These 5 days training sessions are organized by CIET and NCERT. And also it's the 5th and the concluding day of our live training sessions. So the program schedule is mentioned for you. A lot of you are asking us in the comment sections about where you can find the links of the videos. So all the links are uploaded here for all of you. You just have to click on our website, just go into this web page and try and understand and explore more. Then the different mediums through which you can connect with us, one of them is our YouTube channel, that is NCERT Official, and also the other areas on which we have live streaming of our programs are mentioned. You can register yourself, and the quiz link that you all are asking us about and the certification, all the details have been clearly mentioned over here. You can participate in the post-session quiz, score 70% and above to get a certificate. So the quiz link will be uploaded soon, and by 23rd October 2022 you all can send your entries or participation and also your feedback. That is valuable for us. So do write to us via this Google form or either through our help desk mail ID, that is training.helpdesk@ciet.nic.in, or either through our contact number. You can come up with your queries. So it's the concluding day of our 5 days online training session, where we were discussing about the virtual labs for teaching, learning and assessment. It was the last day where we discussed about how we can explore virtual labs for languages. And also our resource person for the day, Dr. Shashi Kumar M. Sir, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. And
thank you.
Yeah, thank you Priyakshi ma'am for guiding our path through and also moderating the session for all our viewers. So viewers, I am pretty sure that you all will be able to answer the questions that are present in the quiz. So keep waiting for the quiz. Within the next half hour or 1 hour, we'll be having the link for all our viewers, and you all know that the different mediums through which you can connect with us, through which you can access the quiz. So what are you waiting for? Don't go anywhere. It's time to wrap up this particular session, but upcoming is our session of Sahyog, that is guidance for mental well-being and psychosocial support to all the students and viewers watching our sessions out there. So stay connected to NCERT and keep watching PME with their channels. Namaskar.